When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
I turned it off. It shouldn't be.
Welcome to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. Y'all caught me off guard today. Hey, this is our Voice of the People segment. And
What's
this,
happening?
Yeah, this night is a wonderful night because it's all about you,
Yes,
your
it is.
voice. So, how does it work? Listen, we had a great topic we discussed last night. And so we put out our little fillers so that we can get some comments. And we got quite a few comments. And so this is where we read your comments, we discuss them, and we continue our conversation from last night.
Right.
So with that being said, and just because we always seem to run out of time, don't y'all feel like
Yeah,
it's
yesterday.
like we got
I mean,
so much,
I hate that
notes.
I hate that I missed yesterday, but you
Oh
know,
man, you missed it.
I had to be a part of the village.
We had a good conversation about the village, and it was so good. Really, we felt like it should have been 2-3 parts.
Right. And we'll
So-
come back and revisit.
So, but just so you know, anybody that's watching this for the first time tonight, there was so much, and we are really trying to put this in a nutshell. So, so just understand that we know this is not all of it, but we're giving you some of it, and we're starting somewhere, and
Right.
and so join in, and so let's get this started. I don't know where we're starting at, comments or what videos, but I'm excited. So
Yeah.
we there's so much we need to get to. So do we want to do this comment? Who's going to deal with this comment?
Yeah, we have a comment.
We have a comment. Thank you from Mildred here.
Yep.
You gonna read
Mildred
that?
states, I love my village. My church village provides spiritual needs, prayer, and the word of God, food for my spirit and body at times. City Life Village provides consistency for my kids, an outlet of sorts to help with school and such basic needs like human interaction and food. The Village of Friends is in my life and has been a godsend in all aspects, at times providing my mind, and body, and soul. I pray I played a positive part in my village. Most of my village members have been more than friends, but family, encouraging me to never lose hope or focus. God's purpose in my life, even when I don't feel or see it.
Awesome.
Do you
Wow,
have a
there's a
village?
lot to that comment. Thank you, Mildred. One of the things that she speaks about, and we talked about this last night, was the people in the community that play a major role in
Right.
your village.
Mhm.
And so Mildred, she's talking
you
about a lot of
to have
different
some type of
people
support.
and
Yes.
organizations.
Because you know how back
and
in the day
I
when
can
you
say
used
for
to say,
sure,
it ta-
the city life, I've heard a lot of people talk
Yes,
about
I've
how
heard a lot
they
of good
play
things
a
about them,
role,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
in their children's life as well as their life. So
But what I like about it is how Mildred started out is about the church.
mhm,
We didn't hit any of that last night, but since you brought it up, we can talk about it.
yeah.
Now, I'm not making a blanket statement, but I'm going to say in some instances.
Mhm.
Now, I believe that the church has not been a good village in some instances. And I
Some
say
churches.
this, some churches. And
Well, he
that's
said
why I said
churches.
I'm not making a
It's
I
not
know,
a
I know,
blanket.
but I'm just,
No, we
I-
can't just say some churches. He said churches.
I know, but I
Yes,
just want to be
yes,
clear, and I'm giving
Yes,
some
so
I
hate
I,
at my
I didn't throw a
pastor right
blanket.
now. Hey,
I didn't throw.
pastor.
I didn't throw a blanket on
Oh,
all of
my.
them.
I know.
I
I
said
just,
some.
I know. You
But-
know, E
but-
here tonight, so we got to be careful.
Please.
But let's look at this realistically. A mega church that has thousands and thousands of members,
Mhm.
where you can't get to the pastor is untouchable.
Yeah.
Even some of the lay people are untouchable. You got to go through layers and layers and layers to get what you need.
Mhm.
Is that a working village?
Okay.
Now, I say this because a lot of people have faith-based beliefs and practices. And where do they utilize those? In the church.
Okay.
But if that
Now,
that
when you say
particular
that, what do you
church-
mean exactly? I just want to make sure we're understanding. our
I'm
viewers?
going there. I'm going there.
No, I'm saying when you say their perspective,
Their
a lot
perspective.
of people.
Well,
yeah.
a lot of people they have high religious and spiritual beliefs,
Okay.
and it's centered in the church.
Okay.
And we talked about this before. Church hurts. Think about it. If that village in that church is not working properly,
Mm-hmm.
that can hurt the village or the villagers.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we're talking about the church.
The
inside.
church.
Okay.
Yes, the church.
Within the
inside.
four walls of the church. I got you. Okay.
Yes. From the infrastructure, the staff, and the
Mhm.
things of that. Now, again, I didn't throw a blanket over every church.
Okay.
I'm saying some churches.
Right.
There are some churches in the smaller churches when they are still family
Mhm.
and they are still together, they're still a village. I know one church right over here on Creighton. It's a family church.
Okay.
And they do things as a family. It's a village within the church.
Mm-hmm.
But do all churches still have that village feel?
Okay.
Well, I'm tell you from an aspect that I grew up in. Church I grew up in, the pastor said he would rather for the kids to be at the church tearing up, playing on the piano, playing on the drums. He said he'd rather replace the drums, the pianos, microphone cords, and anything else than to go pull you out of a drug house, go identify your body, or bail you out of jail.
Okay.
Whatever happened to that style of church?
As long
I
as you're in
agree.
the building.
Right.
He don't care what you doing,
Right.
long as I know you here.
And that's
Okay.
the village because they're still watching over
That's
the
right.
children, the adults, and taking care of each other.
Yeah. And I get that, and too bad, but I'm gonna spin that.
Okay.
Some parents today say, I'd rather for my kid to be in the house doing drugs, drinking alcohol, having sex in the house with me. At least I know where they are.
That's the most.
Now, don't that
insane-
just
that's
mess your
insane.
mind up, right?
I mean,
That's
that's
the most
Okay,
insane
these
thing
are-
you can
these-
say.
These are things that I have heard from parents. And you try to address it. Well, at least she here. At least I know where my kid is.
Well, I mean,
And so they justify it from that perspective. So I'm just saying that. I'm bringing that up because when you say that, you're mentioning the church. And I'm saying, I get it. I understand totally what you're saying. And yes, and I'm glad you said it. Not all churches have that same, way of doing things. We
Right.
talked about the Amish community
Mhm.
yesterday and the way they do things and see things. But again, I have to spin it back to it starts at home.
Yes.
And so if you have parents with that mentality at home, come on. They're not waking these kids up
well,
nowadays to go
those
to,
are
go
those
to
are
church.
friends. Those are friends. So I mean,
and that's how
hold
come
on,
last
let me-
night. I just want to say this real quick, and then you can talk about that. Last night I left off saying it takes a village to raise an adult. So now you can speak on that. What you're getting ready to say, right?
those type of parents are friends,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, they need guidance from, if they go to church, a strong church.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a strong church, what happened to the mothers in the church? You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's
The mothers,
The-
when you walk
the
by, it's
elderly.
like, hey, mother, such and such.
yes.
Hey, deacon, so and
Right,
so.
those
I mean,
elders.
and I'm not saying just mothers, fathers as well.
The motherboard.
And we don't, and that's one of the things that's really missing out of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So if you missing that out of the church, there's no village now because there's no mother, there's no deacon, there's nobody that's sitting there and be like, hey, let me pull your coattail about some things.
The disciplinary.
Yeah, and you come to church with your pants. Hey, brother, let me holler at
That's
you.
right.
Let me pull you off to the
Stopping
side.
you before you
Yeah,
make it.
before, it's just having that respect aspect and
Yeah.
showing that, hey, remember standing, your mom in the choir stand, you playing in the pews, and you get that look.
But
and you
I'm
straighten
glad
up.
you said that because
So,
that
I mean,
look, what happened to that look?
I mean, it's not affecting me anymore
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, their parents, I'll go blow one with my kids. Well, no.
Mhm. And it's
mm-mm.
bad. And I know some people may be viewing and thinking, no, it's not that bad. I don't know those people. I've never heard of parents that do that. And I am not a parent. And so it blows my mind when I actually witness these
Yes.
things. And being in the school system, I get to hear, unfortunately, a lot of things that's going on in people's homes
Right.
that a lot of, people are in denial, but I get to hear it. And so when I hear it, I'm in shock.
And before
So-
we move on to another comment, I want to touch on something that you asked and E said. What happened to that look, or what happened to those deacons and those mothers that discipline those children?
Mhm.
Not only was it removed from the church, you try to
Mm-hmm.
talk to your neighbor's kid who's doing wrong. Guarantee that neighbor is going to come confront you
Mhm.
before they don't allow the village anymore to interact with the kids.
Yeah.
We've become confrontational, and you could be giving that child the best,
Best
advice,
advice.
or the proper discipline without harming the child,
Yeah.
and the parent up in your face. You don't talk to my kid like that. Who
That's
you?
right.
Oh,
And you know
I
what?
got-
Before
ooh.
you go there, E, I just want to say this is Neutral Voices, and this is a voice of the people segment where your voice matters, your opinion matters. So you are welcome to leave a comment, question, call in. Don't forget to click like and share and subscribe to our YouTube page. But I just want to recap real quick. Last night, we talked about the village. We talked about remembering the village the way it used to be and
Mhm.
some of the things we're talking about right now.
Right
We
now.
talked about the village of today. We talked about the people in the village. Who's in your village?
Mhm.
If we were to create a village right now, who are the people you would like to see? What businesses do you feel are vital for your village? And
Right,
so we
right.
talked about those things. We actually brought it home, and we talked about some people from our community, the
Right.
Smileys, for instance. I just want to say that. Hey, again, and I know they have an event coming up. I know Ty Simmons also has
Right,
something coming
right,
up
right.
too, a fundraiser. But so we mentioned people last night that we feel are vital to our community's growth and to building
Right.
a
Right.
village and supporting our community. So, with that being said, and as I said, I left off with the spin, not just it takes a village to raise a child. We talk about that old African proverb and where it comes from.
Mhm.
But then I spent that because before we get to the children and raising the children, we have to look at the adults
right,
that
you're right.
had children at a young age,
Mhm.
and maybe they weren't raised the right way.
Right.
And
Right.
so sometimes we have to go all the way back and we have to start raising the adults.
Get to the root.
Now, what does that look like?
Well, before what you were saying, you when you talking about the neighbors, you can't discipline your neighbor's child or give them valuable, facts or how to maneuver. You can't even do that in your own family nowadays.
That's true too.
Mhm.
It's not just your neighbor. Some people's siblings.
That's
don't
right.
talk to my son. Well,
That's
this is my
right.
niece. This is my
That's
nephew.
right.
Yeah.
This is my little cousin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You
that
have the
and then
right.
when the village, we talk about the village, it's crazy because the infrastructure of your first village
Yes.
is now gone.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so
First-
with that being gone, how can we build a village?
yeah. And
What
what's the
happened
first
with that?
village?
Your infrastructure, your family,
Your
That's
family.
why I said, what
the
happened?
infrastructure
What
of
happened
your,
to it?
I mean, is a lot of it gone just because me and Clarence brothers, and me and him have a dispute. Guess what? No, don't say nothing to my child. And he telling me the same thing, even though he probably could give my child better advice at a situation than I can.
Right.
But no, I don't want you saying nothing to my child. No, we got to get back
we
to the
gotta-
basics.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna say,
basics is if you see my child doing something, handle it.
we got to fix that.
Gotta fix that.
Yeah, so hopefully we can come to some solutions by the time we end this. Now, we won't be able to have all of them, that's for sure, but we
No.
need to talk about some direction that we need to go in. Because you know how they say, listen, you know how they say either you are the problem
Or you're a part of it.
Or, you're
Part
either
of
the
the problem,
solution
I
or
was
you
gonna
are the
say,
problem.
or you're the solution.
Yeah.
See, I put that in my own words. Listen, so so moving out of what we talked about last night, I know we get something. Y'all look, do we have
Yeah.
comments over there?
I think they're coming up, but go ahead until they get to
Okay,
the
I was gonna
comments.
say. So when we start thinking about cultivating our community,
Mhm.
what comes to mind? What things can we do to cultivate the hearts of our community?
Well, let me answer that in a simple question, and I'm gonna answer it in a farming question
Okay.
too. When you talk about cultivating,
Mhm.
first of all, we got to weed out some of the bad.
All right, now.
Mhm.
See?
But before we go further, let's address this comment.
Okay.
Um, I believe this is Kelly. She said, I also have several villages. I have my church village, who helps me sharpen my spirit. I have my work village, who offers me encouragement and support so I can be at my best. I have my camping group village, who helps me relax and enjoy life to its fullest. I have I have my family village, who provides constant love and support. I have my autism support village. Wow, who reassures me when I have doubt and helps me realize I'm never alone in trying to make the right choices for my autistic son. I have my Torrance syndrome support village, who also helps gives me advice when making decisions for my child. All of my villages help me keep balance in my life, which allows me to be my best. Wow.
That's beautiful, and that fits the comment. I don't know if you remember the guy. We had a video last night, and he was talking about. Have you ever had to reach out and use the people in your village
During a storm.
during a storm? And man, there it is. So Kelly's pulling from all angles, and that's the way we're supposed to do it, and not be so proud that you can't look for help outside of yourself. And to go along with what Kelly's saying, what I call it is, and I actually, I like to draw things. So I have my circle, and I call it I see you circle.
Okay.
And it's where you have the people in your circle, kind of like what Kelly said, but it's a circle where you're face to face with everybody, and you don't have to agree, but you see each other eye to eye.
Mhm.
So it's like a truth circle. So if
Right.
you step out of bounds or you go too far one direction, they're gonna bring you back.
Yeah.
And you respect what they have to say.
One thing Kelly did mention that I don't think any of us took in perspective.
Mhm.
We need a village to help us calm ourselves. She says she has a
I
camping
have that.
village
I have that.
that helps her relax.
Yes, I do.
Too many times we have villages that, just want to
Got
get us
you
through
working.
things or just want to get us through things.
I got a whole lot of working villages around me. Yeah. And so, but that's very important. And we make that little joke. Everything is stay calm and,
Yeah.
whatever, people wear the t-shirts, but
Right.
then they are not really living what they're
Right.
saying when they say that. So I love that. We have more comments. This is the voice of the people. So we definitely want to hear from you guys.
And we have Millie. It says, people don't look out for each other like they used to.
Mm-mm.
When it comes to kids, they don't want to be bothered with anyone else's. That's so true. A lot of people don't even want to be bothered with their own.
Wow.
Wow.
That's it.
And you can't trust people anymore. With trafficking, kidnapping becoming more prevalent, anyone who messes with your neighbors, you just drag into the drama. I agree.
Mhm.
Think about it. I was saying this, and you ask, how do we cultivate our village?
Mhm.
And I was saying, in farmers' term, to cultivate, you must first clean out the bad and the dead, things that does not benefit your crop or your village.
Mhm.
Now, how do we say this? If you look, there's an app, I won't name the app, but if you look at this app, there's little red dots that tell you where there's violent sex offenders in your
Oh, yeah.
neighborhood. I'm not saying that they don't have to live in your neighborhood, but I'm saying they are living in your neighborhood, in your village.
Yeah.
So you can't trust Mr. Willie anymore because Mr. Willie is
Wow.
on his website.
Wow.
You can't trust Miss Jane anymore because Miss Jane is on his website. But Miss Jane wants your son to come shovel her snow. Mr. Willie want to,
Yeah.
have your son or daughter
Yeah.
come play in his yard.
Yeah.
And it's not safe anymore. So we have to change the mentality. That's what I mean, cultivate and get rid of some of that dead. It's some of that evil
The
stuff.
weeds, when you say,
Right. And even the drug dealers in our neighborhood, the crack houses, if they don't bother us, we don't bother them.
mhm.
But
we
that's
just
not,
we just learn to live with it and
yes.
to deal
But
with
we
it.
got to get that out to cultivate our village and for
Exactly.
it to grow and have regrowth.
Okay. We have another comment there.
Hey,
What's that? Who is that?
this looks like Miss Jill.
That's
Hey,
Jill.
Miss Jill.
Jill, where you
How
at?
you doing?
The weather Carter.
The weather called her.
Hey,
She
hon.
says, hi, y'all. What do we need? what do we need in any village? A leader. A leader in the household, a leader
Yes.
in the church, a leader in the village. The leadership starts in the household and becomes the foundation that the village is built on. That's what you were saying, right, E?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
that's the first thing first. You gotta have that leader in the household. I
Okay.
mean, I had to say it like this. I have 2 kids, and me and their mom are not together.
Mm.
But in order for us to raise our kids, we have to co-parent. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's rough, but it is what it is. We have 2 kids that we have to send out into this world ready for the world.
Mm.
Right.
And if you don't have that kind of structure and that kind of mindset as co-parenting, the kids suffer.
Okay.
And when the kids suffer, they're not ready for the world.
Mm. Now, you know what? I just want to say this. When you say that, okay, you make me think about this. And, Clarence, I mentioned the word cultivate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one of the things I just shared with a group of students, I said that you are a seed. I want you to imagine this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we begin to share with our children, you are a seed. What good is a seed if we take it and we put it in a drawer or we put it on a shelf?
Mm-hmm.
The purpose that seed has or that it was created for, what happens to it?
It's to grow.
Right, but if we put it in a drawer,
It won't grow.
It won't
it
grow.
won't grow.
It won't work. It's not won't serve
develop.
its purpose.
And so one of the things I believe we need to realize, even as adults, I think we need to start visualizing ourselves as a seed, and so that we understand that sometimes the pressures, the dirt that happens that's on us and that seems like it's just burying us and weighting us
Mhm.
down, I think we need to look at that thing as this is what's going to develop me. I'm going to develop in this dark place,
Right.
and in this place where these heavy burdens on me, but my full potential will eventually break through.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
it's like a lot of times I start thinking about our village. And it's like somewhere in there, we lost that.
Mhm.
We lost our purpose.
Right.
And parents seem like I don't know if they got tired. Have you ever noticed some parents, it's just like, I don't care. They can go.
Mm.
They can do whatever. It's like they just almost gave up. What about parents? They come home from work and they go in their room.
Mhm.
They just kind of forget that the child is there. And it's like they're in their zone, the kids in their zone, and they're just coasting through and moving through one day at a time. Whatever happens, happens. And it's like, when are we going to come to realize that we all have a purpose?
Right.
Parents have a purpose. Parents are to parent.
Right.
And so until we figure that out in our village, I mean, we have to start building from the house,
Right.
Well,
or it's not going to change anything.
Let me start this way. I'm going to say this. We fail to realize a lot of parents nowadays, even when my mom was raising us, she worked 2 or 3 jobs. That's one thing that destroyed the village.
And so when mom get home, she's tired.
She's tired.
She got to go later.
Yeah. So, I mean, nowadays we working 12, 7 days a week. When do you have time with your family? So that's one thing that's destroying our village
Right.
all the way around. I got to go to work. I got 12 hours. I just work 12 hours. I got to work another 12. I got to work another 12. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and throw something in here and make it up. Hey, y'all eat. You get your homework done? Yeah. You don't check it.
Right.
Back in the day when you said you did your homework,
That
I
means-
need to see everybody homework on the table
That's right.
so we could go through it. There's none of that no more
So-
because a lot of times, being that sometimes a lot of the houses, black houses or one-parent houses, they don't have time. And it's hard. I mean, trust me, I know. I mean, I see my kids' mom do it. I do it. We go, hey, even when our kids have events, I might have to go one way. She going to have to go the other way because we can't be in 2 places at one time.
Mhm.
And it's like I say, it's not that in the society, it's so hard to sit down to have that one-on-one with your child.
Mhm.
And when they going through something or they get in trouble in school, we really don't know because we're too busy as a parent.
Okay. So okay.
I just want to touch on something that E said that we were talking about it last night. And I said it in the most sensitive way, but it's true. that desegregation was a great idea, but a failed experiment
Mhm.
because it eliminated the working family.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got to a point because civil rights, everybody think that civil rights just is black and white. Civil rights also was women rights.
Mm-hmm.
That brought women, they had equal rights in the workplace, fairly equal pay. It's still not where it needs to
Mhm.
be, but so that allowed women to go out into the workforce. And it also, after segregation, came to welfare. When they told you it's easier to be a single parent home and we'll give you all of this than it is to be a full family and you fail.
Mhm.
So there were systematic things that changed the village too, that
Right.
didn't allow the village to flourish.
Mhm.
So it's not we can't blame the parents, but we can't blame the parents by itself. There's
Absolutely.
things
And
out
that's
that that brainwashed them.
well, and that's what I'm saying. I don't think we should blame the parents, but I'm saying somewhere in there's a breakdown where we forgot we forgot our purpose from the beginning, and something happened where we didn't pour into our children
Right.
like we should.
Right.
And so, as we think about raising, the village raising our children, I'm saying, how do we get to a place, or how do we rebuild the village? And that's what we were talking about last night. Is it possible? Can we? What can we do to make things better? Even if we don't restore it, it may never get back to
Well,
what it was.
you
But
might
we
be
need
able
to
to answer
figure out
this.
a way to restore it.
Our question is from Kel. What up, Kel? He
What's up,
says,
bro?
Dr.
Hey.
V, what is the school system role in the village?
Well, there's a whole lot of things that the school system needs to do. And I believe that things need to be reworked from all the way from the kindergarten, honestly. And one of the things that comes to mind for me is we need to recognize that Black children are not the same as other cultures. There's certain things because of this internalized oppression in the homes of the Black families that we can be misinterpreted.
That's
Our
true.
character can be misread.
Right.
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
automatically when those kids come into the classroom and they have a different type of
Swag.
movement
Mhm.
and they are more dramatic, and we speak with our hands and we even clap sometimes, those are looked at as threats.
Right.
But those to that child, this is just the way we are. This
Right.
is the way we talk.
Right.
So a lot of things is, for me, I think parents need to know their children. And one, okay, sit them down and tell them, baby, you don't do this. You
Mhm.
got to stop. You use your hands too much. You can't clap anymore. They look at that as bullying.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people don't know this. So maybe you need to analyze, is this the right school for my child? Or
Mhm.
should I put them in a charter school? I need to find a private school. Parents need to take time to understand their children internally and externally.
Well, what
And
about
not put them all in a box, because this child may need to go to this type of school where this child may be good in
Well,
this type of system.
I'm gonna tell
So,
you,
Cap, that is a heavyweight question. And obviously, when we get to the children, we're going to really deal with that, children and education.
Well,
But I love that question.
I would say what happened to the village school.
And that's what I'm talking about. Why can't we get more
our,
schools?
No,
in
no,
our
when I say
communities?
our village school, where our kids see us. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
I
You in the
get it.
classroom, parents in the classroom.
You in the classroom, my parents in the classroom, or that person's that teaching the class look like me.
Right.
Because
Well,
that person in the classroom that looks like me can understand me
can understand
and
you.
know how I maneuver, and then can say and can help the parents say, okay, and when you get out here, we can't do this. You
And
can't
that's
do
what I'm
that.
saying.
And
that's
we
why-
don't have that. That's one thing that's really missing in our village.
And guess what? So how do you solve that? You give the teachers diversity training before they become educators,
Well,
or,
I mean,
or on a regular basis, about not just about the system, the curriculum, but about the cultures of people and how you need to teach this particular child, or things to expect from this particular child. If listen, some people neck roll. It don't mean that they getting ready to throw down. That's
It's
just,
just
the
how
way
they
they
move.
talk. That's just how we do it.
But
But they can be misread.
Right,
They're gonna be
right.
misread anyway because it's just like, oh, why little Juju doing that? You know what I'm saying? Well,
Yeah.
he's
But
not doing anything. He's just having a conversation. Him
I
and little Peter just having a conversation,
Okay.
and they hype about it.
But guess
and-
what?
but
If
it-
he stay hyped, I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if he didn't take his medication. And a lot of times they are mislabeled and they have
Mhm.
all these
Right.
labels that they're not supposed to have. And then what happens in the school system is they call those resource officers. And now you have the school to prison pipeline in full effect, and it will not stop because parents don't stand up. That's why they were able to take prayer out of school, and it's no big deal. And we just let things happen, and it just continue to keep happening. And we just sit back and say, dang, things ain't like it used to be. Well, yeah, it's not, because you don't have a voice. And the voice that you have, you choose to be quiet. And in your quietness, our villages
it's
are
getting destroyed.
breaking down. Yes. And our children are going to prison. So they go from high school, if they make it through high school, to the juvenile correctional facility,
Right.
to the jails, and then to prison.
Well, see, this is what I don't understand. And it's one thing when I was in high school, we had this thing called peer mediation.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Clarence get in a fight. But guess what? Instead of calling the
The
police
resource officer.
and getting us out of there,
That's right.
they'll sit us in the classroom with a bunch of our peers and 2 adults and say, we need to talk this out.
That's right.
What is the problem?
They don't do
and
that.
see, and they rather just say, "Oh, he need to go to jail."
Guess
no,
what? They
he
will
need to be
call-
sit down and talk to
Listen,
because the teachers. The teachers and a lot of these principals looking at these kids as a paycheck. They are scared.
listen. I'm telling you, they will call the resource officer on you for your dress code. They will call the resource officer on you if you take candy off a teacher's desk without permission.
That's
So
shameful.
the resource officer is the police
Yes.
in
And-
the school.
and
The
that's crazy.
popo. Kay has another
I got a
comment.
question, and it's going
Oh,
to segue into
okay.
answering a little bit about. We got a comment, and it's
Okay.
going to segue to answering a little bit about what you both talked about. Financial and social pressures are major factors that break down the village. That's
Yes,
true. Dr.
absolutely.
V, we're going to talk about the school. First of all,
Okay.
the problem is, E said it, and Dr. V, you were leading to it. We don't have our village in our village. We don't have
Mhm.
schools,
Mhm.
our own schools.
That's right.
We do. I know Smith Academy, they have theirs, but we need more of that. We need more teachers that look like us, that can associate with us, to understand us. But not only schools, we need businesses.
Correct.
Okay. Come
we
on
need
here.
we
now.
need things that's
Come on,
gonna
read off my paper.
you say cultivate. We need things that's
Cultivate.
gonna put back in, that's gonna grow. I
Right.
remember when I was a child, Big Al's was right here on Pontiac. That
That's
was a burger joint,
Mhm.
black owned.
Yes.
Up the street was Tharp, Shell,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he had his cleaners. There was another cleaners on. It's still there, Friendly Cleaners, but it was
Cleaners,
another name at another
restaurant,
time.
funeral
Yeah,
homes.
grocery
Yeah.
you
stores,
name
all
it,
of that.
We had it.
But we don't
Ice cream
have that.
parlors. That's right.
We don't have that in the community. So we
Yeah.
don't. We have to go outside of our village, and that breaks down the village because we're going outside.
But what
you
is
know.
that about? Why are we the only people not building? I'm
Because
just saying, building. That's what it's about.
One of the I
What
think
is
I'm gonna say
it?
I think one of the key things is we don't trust each other.
We don't support each other.
We
don't
don't trust.
support each
other. I
We
got
don't
you.
support or
I-
trust each other.
I
Because
got
once
you.
again, I own a black business. I do something wrong.
Listen,
I'm everything but a child of God.
you can make me-
Instead of coming to me and saying, "Hey, E, this what happened," and me as the owner say, okay, I'm listening to you. I hear you. Not to go back and forth with you, not to argue with you, but say, I hear you. I listen. Now I got to correct this problem.
Right.
As a business owner, and you as the customer, you can't come in my joint cussing me out, calling me everything, this,
Right.
that, and other. You talk to a person. A conversation is amongst 2 people. If you have a whole conversation, you can resolve a problem.
I know. Oh my God.
And not only
There's
that,
so
let me
much- so
hold
much.
on, Dr. V. Not only that, with the business, you will come to my business
And ask
and
for a
ex-
hookup.
and expect me to lower my prices or give you a hookup like I don't have overhead. But you go to Macy's,
See-
you're gonna tell Macy's what you
What you
think
gonna
should
pay? No.
They will not be. Was that Jewtown? They will not be doing that in there. This is Neutral Voices, and this is the voice of the people. We have more comments.
Yeah.
Our time is really
Yeah.
up, guys, but we're gonna take a
We're gonna-
couple more comments here. And I told you this was a lot to the village.
Yeah, we're gonna
You want to read that?
Lisa's
Mhm.
comment.
Hi,
Lisa
Lisa.
says people aren't connected in neighborhoods anymore like they used to be. Now everybody's minding their own business because it's not excuse me, because not doing so may get you killed. Wow.
Ooh.
Parents have stopped parenting their kids and don't want anyone else to say anything to them.
Mm.
I'm the mom in the neighborhood that all the kids come to all the kids come to the house.
That's good.
The mom and dads appreciate that I'm home. Their kids have a safe house to come
Nice.
to, especially when they can't get home before their kids get home.
Wow.
You know,
Wow. I know that house.
yeah, we need
That
those
used to be our house.
We need those houses. But the problem is,
Going to that house to get popsicles and ice creams and
Right.
all of that different.
but the problem
Kool-Aid.
is, as a village, we used to care.
Yeah.
If I was in your neighborhood, Dr. V,
Yeah.
and your mom saw me hungry or sitting on my porch and my parents are not home, she
you a
would
sandwich.
not let me
Sure
just
wouldn't.
sit on that porch.
That's right.
She would tell me, come in and get something to eat, but we'll sit on that porch and not say anything. And then when I wander off and I get into trouble,
Yeah.
we talk about them now. Oh, I knew that kid was nothing
Yeah.
but bad.
Yeah, it was a
instead
bad
of,
kid.
Instead of saying, come on in,
Yes.
get you something to eat, sit here, be safe till your parents get home. No, we don't have that.
And-
But Lisa,
see-
if you're that parent,
Yeah.
I commend you.
Yes, and I was gonna say, and that's the thing because we love it, and we can talk and reminisce about the way it used to be, like all night, honestly.
Yes.
And so we're out of time, but we do want to read this other comment.
Okay. We got
Two.
two more.
We got
It
two more.
says
We're gonna
people today
do
are
it.
more selfish and only knock on your door if they want something.
Mm.
I lived in my neighborhood for 10 years and I have made 3 friends. You'd think by now I know all of them. That's Preston. Hey, Preston, that's true.
What's up?
And that is so
That's
true.
so-
you know,
and that's
some
what you were
growing up
talking
in my
about the
neighborhood,
neighbor.
We did that. We literally
Well,
we-
that's what I'm saying. We can keep going back to yesterday.
we
Yesterday was
did that in our
beautiful.
neighborhood, and we
We
had
did.
Soldier Field, we had football fields and everything
See,
in
it's
our
so
neighborhood,
good.
and we need to get back to.
It's
the
not gonna
basics.
happen.
I
It's
don't-
not
I don't-
gonna
I mean, we need to
happen.
find a way to find a common ground to
But
make it
you-
move forward.
But Dr. V asked a question earlier, and we're going to lead to that until when they get the next comment. But think about it. She said, can we get back to what no.
It's not going to happen because I'm thinking Preston saying 10 years
Yes.
he has been in this same neighborhood. He 3 people.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right. And in the world right now is taking the human factor out of everything where we don't have to interact with one another. Think about it. And COVID right now is a benchmark that shows us that we
Mhm.
don't need people. We
Yeah.
don't need people. Seriously. If you want to grocery shop, how do you grocery shop?
Oh, you go online and
You
grocery
can go and
shop.
shop. You don't even have to go to your doctor anymore.
They do Zoom calls.
Telehealth.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Mhm.
Zoom, and we said, what is the future going to look like in it? Think about it. It's the Jetsons. Y'all
Right.
remember the Jetsons?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
All they
Yeah.
had was Zoom phones. I mean,
Yes.
everything face to face. When they wanted to talk to somebody came up on
On
the
the
screen.
screen, yep.
The doctors,
So they was
everything came up
FaceTiming
on
back then.
Mhm.
FaceTiming back then. And that's where we are. They're taking it personal. So if we're not personal anymore, if we're not having a human interaction anymore, then we're not going to have that village anymore in that capacity. The
Right.
village will still be there, but it's just going to be totally different. It's not going to be that human interacting, helping each other, looking out for each other village.
So we know we know we have a lot of work to do. We have another comment, and we definitely want to get to this comment. And just to remind you, this is Neutral Voices, and this is the Voice of the People segment, and this is where your voice matters, your opinions count. So
Okay.
let's read this.
Hey, Miss
Hello.
Laura, how
What's
are you?
up, Miss Laura?
And we're going to read her comment. And Dr. V, we're going to get your perspective on this. She said teachers have no authority over kids anymore. The kids disrespect the teachers, and there's no consequences. The parents and the administration need to back the teachers once again. if we disrespected if we disrespected the teacher growing up, we got taken into the hall with a paddle or sent to the principal's office, and then got sent home more trouble from our parents. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she said it, and that's all true. We were just talking the other day. A student mentioned about getting a paddle in school, and I thought, "You're too young. When was this?" And so, she was telling me she come from Texas, and she was saying that this was like a few years back, and a parent called and got permission from. I mean, the teacher called and got permission from the parent. And I'm thinking, wow, this is something that happened on a regular basis way back when. But you're right. I feel like they have our hands tied. They have us jumping through so many different.
They got the parents.
We can't put our
hands tied.
We can't put our personality in the classroom anymore. They don't want you to really, engage with real life experiences. They just got so many things. They got you following the 6 C's, the 4 E's, the 3 D's, and it's like you got to just stay in this, systematic approach to everything. And that's how come when I do get an opportunity to share a real story and engage my classroom from that angle, the students love it.
Well, I mean,
learn from it.
They got the parents' hands tied.
Yes.
Think about it.
Yeah.
If I whoop my child and my child called the police,
Mm-hmm.
I could get in trouble.
But it's not even about whooping, honestly.
I mean, it just.
But I'm just telling you the truth. It's just discipline,
Well,
period.
I mean, yeah.
Different types of discipline.
Well, I mean,
the police will show up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Just whooping.
You can just yell.
I mean, yeah, even that. But it's just the things that our parents did to us
I know.
that made us who we are. We can't do that to build character in our kids.
Right.
So you got to get to the point where you got to find some new way to discipline. Now, put it like this. They timeout thing. Put me in timeout at my young age when I was younger. I'm going to find something else to get into. That just gave me time to think
But
about
you-
some more stuff to do.
My time I was waking up on the
But-
floor after you're my
I'm
But
saying,
but
you
you
know
see
some of
what
that-
I'm saying? I
It's
mean,
still
it,
abuse. I mean, some of it can
Well,
they will look at it as abuse. You put
man,
a
listen.
child in a dark room,
man, listen.
in a
It's
basement, lock the
time.
door. I'm just saying.
It's time to really get back to disciplining our kids.
Listen.
That's first and foremost. That should be the key because nowadays,
but that's-
if you were to call me, I'm gonna be on your side.
Mhm.
You said, "Hey, EJ did X, Y, Z." Don't even worry about it. I got you. You ain't gotta worry about it
Because
no
you know
more.
your kid.
Right.
Mhm.
Nowadays, my child ain't do this. Well, wait a minute. Time out.
Yeah.
Your child do the same thing at home, and she comes to school and do the same thing, but you telling me your child don't do that? Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic about it.
And that's what I'm talking about. And we always have to go. We got to get out of here. And I just want to say this. If I had to choose the businesses that would be in my village right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you a couple facilities that I would have for sure. Besides the mental health facility, I would have a taekwondo or karate school, a
Mhm.
boxing facility, so that we can get some training, and so I can send my kids, not just the boys, but all of them, because a lot of times the kids need to exert that energy in a
Right.
different way, in a positive way, and they're just being kids. And in school, sometimes when the kids are getting in trouble, they are just small, little, tiny geniuses, and they've already bypassed what this teacher is trying to teach them, and now they need to go on to something else.
Right.
And so they don't have the right structure in the school system to say, oh, okay, I see what the situation is. We don't need to call a resource officer. This
Right.
is all we need to do. We don't have that type of intervention. So I say this as we close out. There's a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Neutral
yes.
Voices can't do it alone.
Right.
We understand that. We're not here to say that. What we are saying, though, is together,
Together.
yes, united together, we can accomplish great things. So what does it look like moving forward? How can we do that? We got to start with, as I said last night, we have to first be accountable.
Right.
All of us. We
Right.
have to show young people how to act, how to speak, how to dress, and how to respect
Right,
themselves
right.
and other people. But at the same time, I believe adults need to respect the young people, because
Yes.
we are known to punk them out in front of their
Mhm.
friends and make them feel
Why not?
belittled and et cetera, et cetera. And we need to follow up and follow through. We can't just say the stuff and not do it.
Well, see, the thing
So-
about respect is, and this is what I tell my kids, in order to demand respect, you gotta first give it.
Well, that's why I said we have to teach them, but we have to demonstrate it, and it's time out. A lot of times, parents say, "Do as I say,
And not as I do.
not as I do." But you showing them this on a regular basis,
Right.
and I just and that's why I said you have to.
We
It takes
are.
a village to raise the adults,
Yeah,
and
we
I
gotta
know we
stop
got to
being
get out
bad
of here.
influences.
And this is Neutral Voices, and there's so much that we need to talk about in order to build our futures, but we got to go. And so, who knows? We will
got it.
obviously.
I
have
got
to
the
visit,
ending quote.
revisit. Yes, you're gonna say something, but and I'm gonna end with this. Parents have to remember it's time for them to start leaving a legacy and an inheritance
Right.
in
right.
our communities.
Right.
All right, my quote is: "It's not our job to toughen our children up for toughen our children up to face a cruel and heartless world. It's our job to raise our kids to make the world less cruel and less heartless."
That's how you put the village back together.
Yeah,
You teach your kids
Starting with
how
the-
to love.
starting with the children.
Start how to work.
Plant the apple seed
Let
to
it
get
grow.
an apple orchard.
Yeah, let it grow.
Beautiful. Yes. Well, my goodness. Neutral Voices, thank you. All of our commenters, people that are clicking right now, go ahead. Give you time. Click, like, and share. We need you to do that. Subscribe. It will help us. That's what we want you to do.
Right. Right.
And listen, we need you to come back here tomorrow.
Yes.
Meet us back here because tomorrow is Friday.
Friday.
No matter what the weather,
No matter what
we
the
are
weather
always
is.
together.
Yes.
Yes, for Randomonium Friday. So that's what's happening tomorrow. And we hope to see you right here. This is Neutral Voices. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you next time.
When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.